How's it going, everyone? It is Wednesday, August 7th, 2024. Before we get into the video, a little bit of housekeeping. So as some of you know, I have my daily market checklist, if you will, where I just review my longer term fundamental and technical bias, my short term technical bias, as well as my intraday bias. So I am going to publish, or not publish, that's a bit of a strong word. I'm going to put that written, my written market bias in the comments of the video. This is a little bit similar to the Pete style with this daily bulletin. I think it's just a nice, a win-win for both me and as well as anyone who watches these videos. It'll force me to make sure that I'm putting the pieces together in a written format as well as a spoken format. I think there's pros and cons to both. And I've been really focusing on the spoken format for a while versus the written format. I think being able to get my thoughts or convey my thoughts in both of those mediums is really the best way to learn something. So I'm going to be publishing that. You'll see my long-term fundamental bias, just pretty much what I'm seeing generally, what I think the market's going to be doing. They're going to be ranked on a scale from -3 to 3. So -3 is max bearish, 3 is max bullish, and then 0 is completely neutral. So usually I'm in kind of the -2 to 2 area. Occasionally we're -3, and you can kind of see why I am feeling a certain way. All of that information will be compressed down to a game plan where I'll say what should swing traders do and what should day traders do. And that'll be pretty much it. So be on the lookout for that on the next couple of videos, or I guess for all the videos for the remainder of this year. Let's get into the picks from the last video. So let's go over the day trades first. I called out HES as a day trade short yesterday. And I'm not sure if it's set up. I've not checked HES. I did not end up taking it. Yep, so you can see here it actually did not set up. Was compressing here, is looking good. And here was the key tell, right? This was a really nice bar. If it closed on its low, we had a chance of going lower. We got this pretty big tail, and then the stock managed to rally up. You can see here how the market was also fairly bullish for that day. So we had a market tailwind against us, and the stock was just simply not strong enough to withstand it. Didn't have the best volume, decent volume, but I think one thing against us is that we were just a little bit too much throughout the move, and some buyers came in over here. Still weak on a daily chart, but day trade ended up just not setting up. So mistake avoided. I called out LTH as a day trade long. And here was the long in the video. So I'd come out here. And by the way, these are some of the new buy and sell signals that I'm trying out on the beta here. So we got this pretty deep retracement here. Trigger this LRSI pullback. So I think this is where you can get into it if you want. Around the 120 candle, starting to gain some relative strength. You can see here how we're forming a higher low versus this area, and that this stock does tend to be a little bit choppy. Pulls in, comes up, pulls in, comes up. So I think you had a chance to get in on the LRSI cross. You could ride it up to the new high of the day and take profits here as the market started to roll over later in the day at 255. You can see how this stock actually sold off at 250. And here's kind of the warning sign here. You can see yesterday that we got this big candle up higher. So we're grinding up higher. We made the new high of the day. We hold these gains for a while, and we actually break through. I drew this upward sloping trend line here. We broke through this upward sloping trend line on a time breach. So it's a very weak break. And then we actually came back and actually tested this 100-day SMA right over here. You can see these tiny body candles. So this, to me, is actually the clue to get out before you even see this red candle. Why? We know that we're in a bearish market. We know that the move up has been fairly tenuous. We know it's been late in the day, and we're getting some higher volume dojis over here, right? Look at the volume on this candle, right, compared to the volume on this candle, right? This is an anomaly. This tells us that there's so much action here, and we couldn't get any net movement. We compressed for a couple of days, and then a couple of candles, and then this is that final signal over here. So LTH was a nice win on that LRSI pullback. And again, how you'd play it, you get in on the pullback, you write it out over here, and then I'd probably get in somewhere right here at the 120 candle. I think that is my signal. Here's the setup in the market. Here is the setup in the stock. It's showing some relative weakness, but you can lean on this trend as support. At the very least, we may test the high of the day. In this case, we kind of grinded up higher, and then we ended up actually gaining some relative strength as the stock started to move up a little bit higher here, digested some of the gains, get a little buy signal here, and then I'd probably exit. See the super high volume candle? There's actually two clues here. This super high volume candle at 250, and then again, the fact that this happened before the market pullback. That is a major, major clue. All right. So let's take these two guys off. We have VFC as an earnings time spread. So I got into this guy for about a 15-cent debit. Stock has not beaten the expected range, but it has beaten the average range. So here's the average move here, 5.78%. Expected move about 16%. So we're still within that range. Stock has made a big move, kind of compressing, not really doing a whole lot while the market is coming down. So to me, I'm kind of neither bullish nor bearish right now at the moment. Currently, the spread is trading at a loss. I have about a 5-cent debit, 5-cent credit on this thing. Now, if the stock comes back in here later in the week, then we can probably get all the gains out. I was looking this morning to see that if there was any chance I could leg out of the spread, but considering the fact that we were at the 100-day SMA, we have a long-term bearish trend here. I need to see some pretty convincing price action on VFC in order to leg out of that position. So still kind of in the trade. This one I actually may end up being pretty more, I guess not nimble. I'm going to be more patient on this trade because we have a bearish market tailwind and we're breaking out of this range. We have to see if we actually can hold these gains or if we get sucked back to the range. Any sort of move down and I'll be able to take some profits or even definitely be able to scratch out of the trade. So we're still going to hold VFC. Let's go over what the market is doing today. So you'll see this in the posted news, but long-term fundamentally, I'm still bullish. I believe that we're just seeing some seasonal weakness, and I believe we're going to see some weakness for October, September, perhaps August and September, potentially even October. October could be weak or neutral, depending as the market kind of waits for that election. And then I think that after the election, after we get the results, we may see a holiday rally. So that is kind of my fundamental bias here. Also my long-term technical bias. This is my outlook for the next 3 to 5 months or 2 to 5 months, you could say. We know that technically, again, we have this higher, this double top higher low. We're making new lows. We're getting technical breaches on heavy volume. We also got our sell signal over here coming into play, additional source of confirmation. Blew through the SMA, came back, tested it up here, getting very close to that 8 EMA. So this is actually the day where I'm going to be looking for some swing shorts. My shorter term market bias has been mildly bullish because I know we are pulling back. If we zoom into our M30 chart, you can see that we are in some sort of an uptrend. If I were to draw a channel right here, right, we are in a bullish channel. Now, the price action has not been very strong. Why? Well, we get this move up here, big sell-off. Move up here, big sell-off, right? So there's sellers coming in and they're whacking these prices down. These tails over here tells us that sellers are in control on the way up. So now we're at the 100-day SMA, and that's where we expect to find a little bit of resistance. I do expect the market to stall here for a few days. We also had a gap up today, which I'm going to get into in the intraday chart, but I expect maybe a stall for the next 2 to 3 days potentially. Some sideways motion will indicate that buyers and sellers are paired off. Okay, so why is that important? Well, if we're getting a pullback, right, we're finishing this upcycle in a down trend. A longer term trend is down. So we're getting a pullback, and that tells us that the pullback is close to being over and the leg down is close to being started. So that to me is a good time to start on these relatively weak shorts. There's a balance here between how precise you want to get your timing and how much, how much heat you want to take on the chart. Pete was saying, right, I remember Pete took a trade on CVX, I believe, on the 5th. He was saying, I'm willing to take some heat here. But I don't want to miss this next leg lower. It can come very fast and very quickly. So on a day like a first, right, the 1st or maybe the 24th or maybe the 18th, right, I'm already in relatively weak stocks and I can take advantage of the move lower versus scrambling to find stocks on those days. So that's really what I'm trying to do here. I waited till we get close to the 100-day SMA. We're seeing some weakness in the rallies. We're seeing some rejection off this level. So I want to see us at least close below this level. Keeping an eye on UPSD. This is my long pick of the day here. I want to see us close below this level here and, not spend too much time above it. We're catching back up to that 8 EMA. So I think, to me, this is a natural place to find resistance. Now, if we do break this level and we get a taller bounce, that just tells us that, okay, maybe the move down is not going to be as extreme, but we can still profit if we are in the right stocks. So what are some picks that we can look at? Well, I revamped my picks and I have some potential long-term swing shorts here. So let's take a look at these D1s and why I like them. So first one here is UPS. Post-earnings weakness. We have a rejection from the gap, a double top. Not able to really rally with the market these past 2 days. Has been hugging this low minus trend line. So I do want to see it crack through here, but I really love this relative weakness in the stock. One of my favorite picks. MRK, another one of my favorite picks. Post-earnings weakness. Digesting some of the gains and getting through this low plus trend line from a very, very, very long time ago, right? We're just poking right through it and we're hugging the bottom of this trend line while the market's moving up. So this is some ideal relative weakness for me. Any sort of market tailwind, we are going to go down. The other nice thing about it is that we're through a lot of healthcare earnings. So I don't have to worry about peer earnings as much moving this guy. One of my favorite picks, low IV as well, so you can take puts. Okay, Dell, beautiful D1 chart here. Had a bounce on the 5th and then now has been selling off while the market has been doing pretty much the opposite. We have some time before earnings. It's also a tech, hardware tech, so not going to be affected as much by NVIDIA earnings. CVX, Pete's pick here over well. Post-earnings move here, kind of compressing, not really doing too much. Pull back to its AVWAP E. I like this pick. Not my favorite pick, but I still think it's a pretty good pick. Oracle is another decent one. We're getting these tails above bodies. Let me zoom in a little bit here. Some tails above bodies, unable to rally. We're just sitting right on top of this 100-day SMA, so that's why it's not as crazy. We also have a limited amount of downside to that gap fill. So I think it's a good setup in terms of weakness, but not the best setup, in my opinion. Okay, Qualcomm, one of my favorite shorts here. So first thing we have to keep in mind, this is a semi stock. There are semis earnings at the end of the month, namely NVIDIA. That is a very big piece of information, and that's going to limit the time that we can sit in the swing. So I like Qualcomm a lot. Book through 200-day SMA, unable to rally below it. We have a nice steady downtrend over here post earnings. So I'm actually short this stock right now, right around here, around 160, 70, something like that. And if we can close below this level and SPY close below the 100-day SMA, I'm going to stick with this position. MU, another nice chip stock here, a little bit more extended than I would like. I think Qualcomm is a little bit weaker, but still an excellent position. You can see we have a very clearly defined trend line, something like that. We're hugging that 8 EMA, so we'll pull back to that 8 EMA and then probably get that next leg lower. Finally, Ulta. Beautiful relative weakness in this stock. Absolutely beautiful. The one thing I'm keeping in mind too for Ulta is we do have earnings in about a month or so, and there are some retail earnings coming out this month. A lot of retail earnings in August. If we go to that, we go to my online retail clothing here, and I'm just going to change this chart over here. You can see that we have earnings a lot at the end of the month. GWN, GPS, ANF, M, AEO, Lulu. AEO actually comes after these earnings. So I don't know how much they're going to affect the stock, but I'd want to double check that there isn't too much movement from these stocks into Lulu, into Ulta. And so far it looks like there isn't. Really doesn't look like there's much earnings here. I'd also want to wait for this stock to catch up to its 8 EMA, maybe a little bit more, but I certainly like the weakness that I'm seeing here right now. So it may warrant a small starter position in this, and then I can add on further confirmation. All right, so those are a couple picks. I'm going to give 2 swing picks for today, and these are the 2 picks that I'm in right now. The first one is going to be Qualcomm. So I'm going to go back to my M5 chart here. Let's go to my long-term swing picks. So I'm going to go with Qualcomm as a swing short. We're leading on this resistance at the 100-day SMA as well as this bullish channel. And we have plenty of downside, and we have time. We have some time before, earnings kind of really kick in here. And I'm expecting not to take, this is not going to be one of those, 1 ATR move kind of plays, right? We're early in the bear trend. I think we can get something closer to like 3, 4, 5 ATR on that move. So, something like, to me, 25 to 40 bucks on this stock, that would be an excellent swing. And I mean, excellent time to take profit. So I'm going to add it to our YouTube picks. Second one here that I like a lot is MRK. Here, I'm going to favor taking the puts. So I'm going to take, if I go to this trade here, you can see that in MRK, I'm in the September 20th $1.20 puts. So that puts us right over here at the 200-day SMA. We have 6 weeks out. We also have fairly liquid options because they're on the quarterly option expiry time. They're at the triple witching date. So good liquidity, lots of room on this stock, and no peer earnings to really worry about. We're sitting on this trend line, tons of downside here, and this is just a beautiful pattern, right? Where we have this move up here, compressing for a while, breakdown, and then we're getting the follow through, hugging that low of the day while the market is doing nothing. So MRK and QCOM are going to be our short swings. We may add 1 or 2 more. I don't like to have too many short swings at once. It kind of just puts me in a pickle, but I am okay getting aggressive on maybe 3 swing shorts, so I may look to add 1 more depending on what the market does, but right now I'm comfortable taking these 2. So what the hell is going on today? We got a gap up, test the 100-day SMA. You can see how we have these VWAP lines, which I think I'm going to take out for the time being. Although Dan's video today, if you haven't seen that, very useful as a quick tip to determining LPTE or not. If you struggle with those things. So we get a gap up and we get a gap and go. The move up is fairly weak. We get some candles. We get a little bit of a door slam here. We get some fighting. We try to poke back into the gap. Can't get anything going. Test the upside. Can't get anything going. And then we actually get some follow through on the downside. Poke back into the gap. Trigger some sell stops. And now we are rallying back up a little bit here, trying to test this low. Coming here for the retest. So I am Mildly bearish here. I like this break into the gap. I want to see this level hold. And if this holds, I think we can probably get a stubborn gap fill. If it doesn't hold, we get sucked back in the range. To me, that'll indicate that this is going to be a pretty dead day, and we're not going to do too much. I did take a nice win today on EMR, courtesy of Dave. So thank you, Dave, for that call out. And also, I should say, Opreme, great trader in the chat. If you were in the one option chat and you haven't really watched Opreme, you should. Took it here. I missed my ad. I would have loved to add right here. You can see we broke through this downward sloping trend line, double top, weak pullback, rejection from WeWap, getting through that 8 EMA, key red bar, beautiful entry point, and you can ride this guy down. And I took profits right around here where we have the gap fill on EMR. So that's where I took profits. Took a nice win on that today. Some really nice stocks. If I go to my tag list here, sorting by range, UPSD, one of the best bulls you can find today. I mean, this stock is up 50%. That is just an insane amount, like absolutely insane, right? Up 12 bucks on this guy. Huge head of steam, ton of volume on the stock. This is a stock that has a really good chance of continuing. It is holding all the gains while the market's going lower. You can see how it's not really able to get too much above this high of the day. May have to digest this move. I actually spotted this stock earlier at 950. We had this little gap test reversal early in the day while the market was going up higher. Excellent setup. Here is, I think, a great entry candle at 955 where we get this hammer. We test this level and rally back up. That tells me that buyers are in control. So unfortunately, I missed my entry here. Forgot about the stock because I was just being dumb. And you get a beautiful move here. You can exit at a double top. And that's, $5 on that guy. Beautiful, beautiful move. Couple other stocks of interest here. Payo, not a bad pick. Let's look at this guy on the long side here. There we go. So move up here, pulling back here, found some support, kind of grinding up over here. What I don't like is just it's a very cheap stock. And the ATR is good, but it's not insane. So just not a huge fan of these low, cheaper stocks. X is decent, but coming up to that high plus trend line here, just not a ton of room in my opinion. MTD made a nice move earlier today, giving back some of the gains. Not the best momentum also, just a very choppy stock, and it's also in a longer term downtrend, so I just feel like there are better plays. So UPST is the only one I really kind of recommend trading, and has just a huge head of steam, completely ignoring the market. If the market kind of stalls out later today, I think UPS could have another trade left in it. Some picks I like on the downside. Actually, ARMK was one I liked on the upside. Looks like this stock is giving back some of the gains. We have a gap fill over here. Some nice relative weakness, not bouncing at all with the market. This might be a pretty decent short. Not my typical short. I'd be in and out of this stock, but we have some room to the gap fill, 8 EMAs below, and we are through resistance here. Sellers are clearly in control of the stock. It is unable to bounce. We put up our SPY overlay. Yeah, I mean, stock is bouncing, it's going down. Digested some gains, went down again, flat while the market is rallying up. I think this has another leg lower in the stock. Would not mind trading this. I think this might be my short pick of the day. So day trade wise, I like UPST on the long side. I like ARMK. Day trade only on the short side. If you're uncomfortable with this gap reversal, you don't have to trade it. I like this selling in the stock. Post earn as well, so there's a good amount of volume, good amount of liquidity here, tight price action, hugging this 8 EMA. This is where I'd want to get in on the stock. Once the market starts to drop lower, I think this stock should also start to drop lower, and I can take, a couple of cents in there, maybe 30 cents in this guy. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we will take a look at how, actually, before I forget, some pre-earn options for you. Favorite pre-earn options for today, or earnings time spread. Hood earnings time spread here. few times exceeded, good difference, good liquidity. Played hood last time, scratched out. Let's see if I can make some money on it this time. Second best one here is Sedge, low times exceeded, good price, high IV crush here. And then the third best one that I saw was VST. Where's VST? VST, 0 times exceeded, good difference, lower liquidity. Hood, I think, is a better play than VST, but VST is certainly very, very viable. So those are the picks on the earnings time spread. You can take one of them. You can take all of them. It's up to you. I think I am just going to mark hood over here. So a lot of picks today. We have Qualcomm swing short, MRK swing short, UPST day trade long. We have ARMK day trade short, hood earnings time spread. Let's just take a look at all of them. Sedge earnings time spread and VST earnings time spread. The tricky thing is if you take a lot of earnings time spread, they can be very difficult to manage. So please keep that in mind. Less is sometimes more when you're managing a lot of trades. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll take a look at how these picks did in tomorrow's video.